The world watched in disbelief as news broke of Indian citizens, lured by the promise of a better life, ending up unwilling combatants in a distant war. They had dreamt of prosperity, of escaping the clutches of poverty. Instead, they found themselves trapped in a nightmare, pawns in a conflict not their own. These were not soldiers by choice, but victims of a cruel deception. Their stories serve as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of the desperate and the ruthlessness of those who prey on their hopes. The conflict in Ukraine has cast a long shadow, its tendrils reaching far beyond the borders it engulfs. The human cost of this war is immeasurable, felt most acutely by those caught in its crosshairs. Among them are Indian citizens lured to Russia with promises of lucrative jobs, only to find themselves thrust into the heart of a conflict they never sought. The stories are heartbreaking, filled with a sense of betrayal and despair. Men like Ramesh Kumar, a young man from Punjab, left their homes seeking a brighter future for themselves and their families. They were promised jobs, security, a chance to build a better life. Little did they know their dreams were built on a foundation of lies, destined to crumble into the harsh reality of a brutal war. The recruitment tactics were sophisticated, preying on the vulnerabilities of those desperate for a way out of poverty. The agents, wolves in sheep's clothing, promised them European work visas, good salaries, and safe working conditions. These were not jobs on the battlefields, they were told, but positions in logistics, construction, security. It was all a carefully constructed facade designed to ensnare the unsuspecting. The agents operating in the shadows knew exactly which buttons to push. They targeted young men from impoverished backgrounds, men who had families to support, dreams to chase. They painted a rosy picture of life abroad, of opportunities that awaited them just across the border. For a hefty fee, of course, these agents could make it all happen. Passports were procured, travel arrangements made, all seemingly above board. The journey, however, was often shrouded in secrecy. Transit through multiple countries, vague explanations, and an air of urgency all served to keep the recruits disoriented, questioning but ultimately compliant. It was only upon arrival in Russia, passports confiscated, that the true nature of their situation began to dawn. The contracts they signed, written in Russian, a language most didn't understand, were not for jobs in Poland or other European countries as promised. These were enlistment papers, binding them to the Russian military. Their pleas, their desperate attempts to explain the misunderstanding fell on deaf ears. They were trapped far from home, their dreams replaced by the chilling reality of a war they never signed up for. Their training was minimal, a cruel crash course in survival. Thrust onto the front lines, ill-equipped and ill-prepared, they faced the full brunt of the conflict. The horrors they witnessed, the constant fear, the loss of comrades left them physically and emotionally scarred. Ramesh Kumar, a farmer's son from a small village in Punjab, had always dreamt of a life beyond the fields. When an agent promised him a well-paying job as a security guard in Poland, he thought his luck had finally turned. He poured all his family's savings into the opportunity, clinging to the hope of a better future. Instead, Ramesh found himself in a nightmare. Transported to Russia, his passport confiscated, he was forced into the Russian army. His pleas were ignored, his desperate attempts to contact his family met with threats and intimidation. He was given a uniform, a gun, and minimal training before being deployed to the front lines in Ukraine. What he witnessed in the trenches haunts him to this day. The constant shelling, the fear, the death all around him left him a changed man. He saw his comrades fall, victims of a war they never wanted. He thought of his family back home, their hopes pinned on his success, unaware of the horrors he was enduring. Ramesh, like many others, is now back in India, but the scars of his ordeal run deep. The trauma, the sense of betrayal, the loss of innocence continue to haunt him. His story is not unique. It is a shared narrative of deception, exploitation, and the human cost of conflict. The plight of these men is a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, especially for those seeking opportunities abroad. The allure of a better life can blind us to the dangers that lurk in the shadows. It's crucial to remember that if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. The Indian government, alerted to the plight of its citizens, has taken steps to secure their repatriation. Diplomatic channels have been activated, negotiations held, and pressure exerted on Russia to release the trapped Indians. While progress has been made, the fight to bring every single person home continues. This incident has also highlighted the urgent need for stricter regulations on overseas employment agencies. The government is working to implement measures that will prevent such exploitation in the future. Awareness campaigns are being launched to educate potential job seekers about the dangers of fraudulent agents and the importance of verifying job offers. The dream of a better life should not come at the cost of one's freedom or safety. By being aware, by being cautious, by verifying every promise, we can protect ourselves and our loved ones from falling prey to such heartless exploitation. Let us remember the stories of Ramesh and countless others, not just with sympathy, but with a renewed resolve to stay vigilant, to protect our aspirations, and to prevent such tragedies from ever happening again. Ever